Madison Police are investigating two separate gun-related crimes that happened within the last 2 weeks. The first one took place earlier this month on May 9th on Rise Lane. Officers say bullets damaged a window at an apartment complex and that there was about a 1 to 2 hour difference between when the shots were fired and when police were notified. Police responded around 6:20. They're asking if you have any information to call Madison Area Crime Stoppers. The second gun-related incident that MPD is investigating took place last week after a roofing crew found a bullet lodged in a roof on Madison's east side. A resident on Golden Leaf Trail found the damage last Friday. Police say the homeowner had the roof replaced a year and a half ago, but had contractors come to inspect after the recent line of storms. The construction team removed the bullet and turned it into police.